Yeah, my weekend, like you said last week, you're like, my weekend starts when we're doing the podcast. I was like, shouldn't your weekend just have started and the podcast was part of it? But
all right, man. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. I'm giving you stuff to cut out. I apologize.
I always cut the beginning. So,
welcome back to the first of the worst podcast. My name is Brendan Murphy,
and I am Steve Arendas.
And Steve, on this day, we're going back to the realm of sporty, which is kind of honestly. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of how we, that's how our love burgeoned, I would say. I hardly knew ye, and then, what's the coach what's that white trash coach? Brett Bielema left Wisconsin, and we were both like, what? This is crazy. And then from there, it all took off.
Yes, I think it was something like that, yeah. And neither of us are Wisconsin fans.
It was definitely Bielema. We were just like, this makes no sense. Why would he do that? And I would still kind of be like, that probably wasn't the greatest move.
Yeah, he's still not in the greatest situation, I don't think. Yeah,
but he's like SEC worthy of entertaining.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like he deserves to be in the SEC for like the things he says and the way he acts.
Yeah, he should be like Kentucky's coach though.
Like one of the 3 jobs that's worse than the one he has in the SEC.
Yeah, so Missouri,
Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, there's probably another one in there. I don't know.
I mean, you probably say Mississippi State.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a kind of random thing where I'm probably just gonna end up making fun of myself a lot here. And we're gonna rank types of sports fans of types of sports. It's a confusing thing to say. So sports fandoms, but not necessarily what team, but people who are like fans of that specific sport.
Yeah, because we hate fans of certain sports. I mean, honestly, I pretty much hate them all. I thought of when I made this list. Even the sports that I really like, I look at the fans and I'm like, no, those people suck for X reason.
I totally agree.
Yeah, there's stuff on my list that I'm not even a fan of. So
yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I think we started talking about this because of all the people saying pitchers and catchers are reporting for spring training.
Yeah, pitchers and catchers, kill yourself.
Who do you care? You know, like watch guys throw, like warming up in the backyard.
Yeah, you're like, let's watch them play catch.
So dumb. Spring training's so boring. Like if you're even the times of my life when I was more into baseball, nobody cared. Like I don't understand how you care about pitchers and catchers reporting.
I don't think I'd even want it. Like people are like, I would love to go to spring training. That's just because I would like to go to like Arizona in February. The baseball is irrelevant to my going to spring training.
Oh, it's just an awesome excuse to go to Arizona and like drink in the sun for a week.
Yeah, I mean that. Of course, I want to do that.
Yeah, it's an awesome excuse.
Yeah,
it's under the ruse of like wanting to watch baseball.
But I would rather not watch baseball. I would much rather just be like, let's be at a pool.
It's a better
baseball
trip than like the stadium trip, than like the tour of stadiums.
Oh God, the stadium trip. If someone's like, I've been to 20 stadiums, I've been like, you've had 2 girlfriends maximum.
Weirdly, baseball's not low on my list. After thinking of other sports and how I hate the people who are fans of those.
Did any of the big 4 not make your list? I'm kind of fishing because that one did not make mine.
Was it a top 10 best sports fan?
Of the big 4.
I'm assuming hockey fans weren't one of your 10 favorite sports fans.
Okay, are they on your list?
Yeah, very low.
Okay. Well, we won't talk about them yet. I was doing a little fishing because I wanted to make sure we talked about them.
Yeah. There's another thing. Olympics didn't make my list.
It is on my list.
Okay, good. We'll talk about that. Same with auto racing because I actually don't know any auto racing fans, so I can't really pass judgment on them.
Is on my list.
Okay, so we'll talk about that too. That's great.
So we've covered almost every base.
Let's go for it then. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is, you know what? I'm sure they're on your list, maybe a little higher than I have them. I just don't get the point of the sport, and I don't think it's a sophisticated demographic. But there is an upside, and that is that these are party people. These are good, honest, racist party people.
Are you talking about MMA fans?
No. See, I could call racist party people, and I could have just encompassed like 17 different things.
There's so many of these fan bases. Wait, okay, so is it horse racing?
No, I don't know that horse racing fans are necessarily racist.
I didn't put them on my list either. I don't even know. Hockey didn't make your list.
NASCAR.
Oh, so you went straight for the auto racing.
Okay, well, I actually have auto racing in two.
Oh, you separated it. Okay.
Yeah, I did. And I'll explain that when I get to the other one.
Okay. So NASCAR fan, like I said, I don't know any. My one run-in with NASCAR fans was at a wedding in Effingham, Illinois, when we went to the bar between the wedding and the reception. And I walked in. Me and my friends walked in with suits, and there was just a bunch of dudes drinking NASCAR. And I walked up to the bar and ordered a Bud Light Lime because I thought it was the funniest possible beer to order in that situation.
I had one of those the first ever time I was in Vegas. I was at the pool, and they're like, "We have this new beer. Try it." And I was like, "This is actually pretty good." It's not. At that moment in my life, I just felt like that was high society living. It was my first ever business trip, and I was in Las Vegas, and I was like, "Man, I've made it. I'm making $29,000 a year, and I'm in Las Vegas."
Yeah. NASCAR fans. Yeah. I mean, there's some elements of racism in a lot of my rankings of this.
Oh yeah, but if we were ranking these fans by how racist they are, with all due respect to hockey fans, I got NASCAR fans number 1 in the racism power rankings.
Yeah, it's really hard to judge considering how few black guys race cars, so you don't get to see the visible racism during the events.
But you can go outside and see probably
1,000 Confederate, more
30% of the Confederate flags in the country are at a NASCAR tailgate.
They just travel from one to the other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I will say it is considered to be just an all-out outdoor party, and I'm into that element.
I've heard it's fun. I've heard it's fun to go to.
Would you go to a race?
Yeah, I'd go to a race.
I totally would.
It has to be a good situation. It has to be a good setup for me to go. I'm just not going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The problem, they're gigantic. Their gigantic structures located very far from any place where I would potentially be.
Indianapolis,
that's auto racing. That's not NASCAR racing.
They ran a NASCAR race there.
But the Indy 500 is.
They do a NASCAR race at that track though.
Okay. All right. So maybe that.
And there's Joliet, but you don't want to go to Joliet for any reason.
No. I mean, unless I want to go to the Rudy Museum.
Oh, that's in Joliet.
If it exists, it definitely is in Joliet.
All right, my number 10. I guess you could have described this before, and it's MMA fans. I think they're
didn't make my list.
They're 50% of Buffalo Wild Wings income, I think, is from MMA fans in the suburbs.
It's really fucking stupid.
I'm not trying to judge the sports individually. I'm not ranking these the same as I rank the sports.
No, I'm not. But there are people who I don't know. I don't really know how to describe them. They're not if you're an MMA fan, you totally could not be a fan of any traditional sport. That's maybe a strong likelihood.
No, I know MMA fans that are fans of other sports, but yes, there are a sect that are just that's the only thing they watch. Because they
like to work out, and they like to drink Red Bull
and wear ugly T-shirts
with graphic. They're into graphic design and and just not having body hair.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's just I didn't put boxing fans on my list because I feel like that doesn't really even exist.
We'll
okay, we'll get to that later.
We have different lists. We'll get to that very shortly. Actually.
Oh, okay. Then my number 9, like I said, I would actually rather watch MMA than this sport, so I'm not ranking them in order. Is NHL fans. Number 9.
Yeah, they didn't make my list. I mean, we had to. We're doing this in a way that we're taking the sport as a whole and not the fan bases individually.
Yeah, I mean, there's some generalizing going on here.
But you and I are not Blackhawks fans, and that's been a tough road to hoe the last half decade in this city.
Let me tell you a little story. If you don't like NHL fans, you should just not live in Chicago because they don't exist anywhere else. It's been one of the top parts of my move. There's no highlights on TV.
You know what, dude? Let me tell you, unless you're in the West Loop on a game night, they don't exist before March or May anyway.
And then after May, they only exist on the north side.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they're still celebrating the last cup.
So NHL fans have big time inferiority complex. Big time inferiority.
And I respect that. I do respect that. Because
they just love to talk about how many hockey fans there are, even though there isn't. That would be like me as a White Sox fan claiming there's as many White Sox fans as Cubs fans.
Well, they say that like the media makes hockey less popular.
That's the same thing.
We're in such a consumer media that if it was more popular, it would get more coverage. It's directly correlated to that. I mean, now the news cycle is giving people what they want. So if more people wanted hockey, there'd be more hockey.
I kind of disagree with that. But it's also the same thing White Sox.
How so do you disagree with it?
Because ESPN only puts things on TV that pay them, that they have contracts with. It's not a news company; it's a media company. It's a sports media company. They don't.
Okay, care. I'm not trying to. And they're the of ESPN. But if it was a good sports property, they'd put it on.
Well, they'd get it. If ESPN, you will see. If ESPN gets hockey, you'll see a lot more hockey coverage on ESPN. And they're just like the number one media company, so it seems like, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, hockey's been on like these off-brand networks for 2 decades.
If it was even on anything,
it was on Versus. It might have been on Versus when it was called Outdoor Life Network.
And that channel just became NBC Sports now.
Mean that channel, but now it's like a somewhat legitimate sports property.
Yeah, and
they have like highlight shows and
NHL's their second biggest sport behind British soccer. That's on at 6 a.m. ratings.
Yeah, and they're in on like the terrible college basketball games on weeknights. You know, they're probably they get some of that. I mean, they're low on the totem pole. Like they're
bull riding, I think too. Pro bull riding, I think. So what's your number 9?
It's boxing, and there aren't a lot of boxing fans, but like, if you talk to someone who knows boxing, it's impressive the knowledge they can spew at you.
Yeah, I feel like I would rank them higher if I knew them. I feel like I would.
Maybe I should have. It's just there's not a ton. Actually, my buddy who's visiting me, one of his best friends back east, is a humongous boxing fan. Like 15 years ago, was telling me about Pacquiao. Also, like that means that's when he was best, because with boxing.
Oh yeah.
If I know you, you're not that good anymore.
Totally true.
It's a very weird phenomenon. Because you're like 30 fights deep if I know you.
Yeah.
So your motor skills have diminished in some sort of.
Yeah, capacity. I have a sport like that ranked higher on my list that like not a lot of people are fans of, but I think the people who are really I like them. So then, what is your number 8?
I did Olympics. I don't know. It's mostly women.
So I didn't rank Olympics because I don't consider the Olympics a sport.
I certain things it's hard to say they're sport.
It's the Olympics as a program is, I don't even know what it is. It's like the Today Show of sports. Like
absolutely. I mean, it even has the same host.
Yeah, like a lot of them. It's just it's not like put on TV as sports. Like it's on as like they're not live most of the time. It's like you're just like, instead of watching it, you're just like watching like a 20-minute clip about some like girl and like how she got to the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, what do you always say that history class is story time?
Yeah,
that's kind of the Olympics are also story time.
Yeah, the Olympics are story time.
And it's funny when the networks and the sponsors invest big in someone pre-Olympics because they're such a heavy favorite, and then they shit the bed.
It's the best.
That's one of the great Olympic pastimes. The all-timer, as much as Apollo Anton Ono is probably a disappointment, the all-timer is Dan versus Dave.
Yeah, didn't one of them not even make the Olympics?
Dave didn't even make it. They were decathletes, and they were the favorites, and Dave didn't qualify, and Dan got a bronze medal.
Yeah. Apollo Anton Ono always sucked. He's still on Subway commercials. That was like their one thing they had going.
Which is, I mean, what a great agent he has.
Yeah, Michael Phelps was like the one lock they had for like a few years. They're like, we can just hang our
he's
head
going to
on
be in
this
the
guy.
Olympics this year.
I bet Ryan Lochte gets a bunch this year. We see a Ryan Lochte, and I kind of could see him sucking.
He wasn't very good last time, if I recall. I mean,
he had a reality show for a second.
I will say, like, the Olympic swimming has been fun, and maybe 2 times ago, I mean, there were some like amazing photo finishes.
Yeah, like there's like sports within the Olympics, but like the Olympics themselves kind of don't seem like watching sports. There's like good sports moments inside of this other beast that's like almost not a sport.
Yeah, and just because you can't do something doesn't make it a sport.
No, absolutely.
Just because like they have a skill set, like rhythmic gymnastics,
it's dancing.
That's dancing, and they're good at it. But it's not even cool dancing.
No,
like
it's not like break dancing.
Yeah, can we get like hip hop dance in the Olympics? Just another thing for America to bring in and kick everyone's ass at because we invented it.
No way. You know, there's like some Norwegian kids who are just like killing it in hip hop.
I was thinking like maybe like Latin America might have some pretty good prospects too.
Japan. I think it's a great sport. Actually, we should call the IOC.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a great sport. So that means I'm on my number 8.
It does mean you're on your number 8.
So I'm a fan of this. I'm not a mega fan. It's something I'm becoming more and more of a fan of. But hardcore American fans of this really annoy me and it's soccer fans.
Soccer is significantly higher on my list than this. I'm a little surprised it's this low on yours.
Because I actually watch soccer too. Like I've been watching Champions League every afternoon.
Yeah, and like whenever I have like a Team USA question, I ask you, and you usually have like a pretty comprehensive response to it. So I considered you to be like a pretty solid fan.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm not. And there's a level beyond me, and those people are. Here's the thing. Here's why. One, they like the hardcore soccer fans, and this isn't everyone, but this is a great generalization, are like mad at you if you're not a soccer fan. Like you should be a bigger soccer fan. Soccer is the best sport. First off, they'd be calling it football this whole time because they think they're not from this country. Then also,
if you call soccer American football and you're from Mokina, I hate you so much.
Well, they'd call it football. American football is what we call football.
Okay, if you call it football, whatever, just kill yourself.
So that's annoying. And then if you like are a new soccer fan, like if you were like wanting to watch soccer at a bar and you're like cheering for things, they get like mad at you because like you're not cheering for like you don't really know. You're like not one of them. So it's like they want everybody to be fans, but they don't want you to be a new fan. You just have to like be a great fan already. And the whole thing is like the saying is the words, like the way they speak. They just like speak like they're British all the time. Like, it's a field. You don't have to call it a pitch. Like you're not from Manchester. You can like use the American words and like still.
Oh, the way they talk about it, like oh yes, the Liverpool side, things like that.
Yeah, all that stuff. And my favorite thing that's come into this, so like a lot of the MLS teams, which is Major League Soccer, it's the American League. There's like NYCFC. What does that stand for? New York City Football Club that plays in Major League Soccer. Like, hey, Major League, get your shit lined up. Like it's
be a team.
Yeah, beat NYCSC or change the name of Major League Soccer to Major League Football. It confuse the shit out of everybody. Let's get some like line that shit up. It really bothers me.
Yeah, it's inconsistent. I mean, I would just say like, you're in this state, you're in this country, so be a team with a geographic location and a mascot. That's how we do it. And many of them are, which is another reason it's
like crisscross. Like some are, some aren't. Isn't there a team called Real Salt Lake? Which is hilarious.
Oh, lots of shitty cities have big MLS followings.
But
lots of like not real sports cities.
Yeah, because it's like the sport they got. Because it's like
the Portland Timbers are just killing the game.
Well, it's huge in the Pacific Northwest. Seattle's killing the game too. It's huge up there. But yeah, no, I mean I like soccer and I like plenty of soccer fans, but those hardcore ones. Man, you don't need to sound like you're British. Like it doesn't make you a better soccer fan. It doesn't.
No.
And I'm gonna keep calling it soccer, America.
Well, that's where we live. I mean,
my number 7 is golf fans.
I didn't really know. They didn't make the cut for me. I don't know. It's more of a participation sport than a observation sport.
Okay. And I'm considering only the people who like to watch it a lot. I don't get it. I'll watch like some majors and stuff. But the people who like to watch it tend to be people who like other sports I like. So that's just why they're up here. Not too low, but there's a little pompousness that comes with being like a hardcore golf fan.
But they're not entirely in your face about it.
No, maybe exactly.
Just the nature of golf.
Exactly. That's why they're not ranked lower.
But I will say, there's a gym in my building, and when I was down there last Saturday, and there was 18 college basketball games on, and the guy there was watching a Saturday of a fucking pro-am, I was displeased. As great as Mark Wahlberg looks off the tees, I was displeased about this.
Yeah. And golf fans kind of just like to drink.
I mean, golf is a social game. I think that's the only reason that I really would consider taking it up. I like the idea of 4 hours in an activity that's just not straight drinking.
Yeah, just like out in the sun, having some beers, hanging out. I mean, anybody. I golf. I haven't golfed in a while because of some injuries and then having twins last summer. But I'm not good at it. The key to golf, having fun golfing, I think, is just finding people that you like to golf with. You want to be like close to the same skill.
The way I understand, yes, and the serious net level.
Yeah, somebody can be like I've golfed with people who are way better than me that don't have a problem golfing with me because they like I don't play slow and they're not like super serious. So it like works out all around.
Yeah.
So you just got to figure out something like that. What is your number 7? Is that what we're on now? Yeah.
We talked about pitchers and catchers. I mean, in the end, I grew up with baseball. I'm American. Like, I see the appeal of it to some extent. I just think it's just too much of everything. Too many games, too much information.
Yeah, so my qualms with baseball fans, baseball fans are actually higher on my list because really the big qualm is the pitchers and catchers reporting, and that only lasts for like a little bit here at the beginning. But there is some annoyance factor in the numbers now. Even
the reverence of old school numbers and new school numbers, like the reverence of like Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame debates are my least favorite thing about
Hall of Fame debates are brutal,
and baseball's Hall of Fame is maybe it's the best Hall of Fame, but it's the most obnoxious.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and like the new like advanced metrics now, where you can't even really talk about baseball without a fucking computer in front of you.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, like you could look at all the advanced metrics that you want, but like sometimes guys are just going to get worse, and you won't really be able to explain it. Right? It's just how shit happens.
It's probably because they're not on drugs anymore.
Skills diminish in weirdly, and I mean, if they spend as much time figuring out the science, guys blowing out their arm, that would seem like a much better way to use science than OPS.
I like that OPS was how deep you went with your advanced stats.
Yeah, that to me is a deep stat, and everyone's that's like 2 numbers plus.
And I just annoying baseball fan dude right there. So
it stands for on base plus slugging, and I'm like, what's slugging again?
What's your number 6?
This is funny because when I was looking at my list right now, I was like, yeah, this should have been way lower. But I did put it because I do respect that these people are like oftentimes kind of intelligent and like appreciate the science of the competition, and that's auto racing fans, like Formula One type shit. But
who are those people?
I used to babysit for a family, and the guy, he was British. His name was Guy Durkin, and how British is that?
It's really British.
It's really British. And he was like a car nut, and he like built cars in his garage and watched all those things. And I mean, I thought it was really cool that he could do that and understand all that.
Yeah, there's some
but
coolness.
Now Now really I'm thinking maybe he's more of an outlier, but I mean, there's the science of what he does is much more precise than the science of our list construction.
Yeah, that sport is obviously huge though. Like I don't know overseas and stuff because those dudes make so much money.
Oh yeah, so dude, and it's really fucking cool. The idea of like they call it Grand Prix when you're on actual streets. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that is cool. They just like barricade off streets.
I don't know that that's really common. I know it's really common in driving video games, particularly the arcade variety.
Yeah, I don't. Did that happen? Does that happen in like in America? I think there's an American Grand Prix, isn't there? They probably just don't do it in cities or something. They just like do it out.
I mean, there are Grand Prix tracks too.
Yeah,
I'm sure we got a ton of those.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll do my number 6.
And I don't know why NASCAR is so much more popular than that.
Oh, because of rednecks. Crashes?
Because they want to see a regular ass car.
Crashes. Yeah, regular cars crashes. And that sport's basically designed for crashes. Like the sport is like You're designed to have all the cars clustered up, which just makes big crashes. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and if you like go to like
that is that people drive. Like, I think it's cooler that like a drag race is like you're driving a rocket. Essentially, like it's so fucking fast. You need a parachute on the back.
Multiple parachutes. Yeah,
you need multiple parachutes on the back.
All right,
that's way more dangerous and way cooler to me.
My number 6 is once again it's a sport I'm a fan of. It's not ranked higher because I'm really focusing on the hardcore fans of the sport. It's NCAA basketball fans.
I got them higher, but I mean, I have my main gripe with them, and I think you're gonna have it too. So why don't you?
Does it have to do with racism?
Racism and just like general delusion that the product is so great.
It's more delusion actually at this point, I think, than racism.
Well, no, I mean it's like, it's subconscious racism mostly.
Yeah, subconscious. I would kind of agree with that. Yeah, that they think this sport is played better than the NBA.
They say two things, like because people can actually shoot in college,
which is hugely incorrect.
They play defense.
First off, the shooting one is just so wrong. It's insane.
Okay, I mean,
can't shoot.
That's why teams can play a zone defense all the time.
Yeah,
and win national titles.
That's why you can't do that in the NBA because they can shoot.
No, because the NBA, all 5 guys can hit a 25-foot jump shot. In college, it's possible one on your team can't. I mean, I've been watching a team that hasn't hit a 25 jump shot in 2 years.
Do you remember Steph Curry in college? He was on a team of bums from a small conference, and because he could make shots, they killed people in the NCAA tournament that they shouldn't have beat. That's why teams in the NCAA like tournament go on runs. That's why teams win NCAA tournament games because like guys like big upsets happen because a guy makes a bunch of shots, and that's not normal.
Oh yeah, Grayson Allen. When it wasn't normal, now it is kind of normal.
I just read it. Speaking of Grayson Allen, I just read an article today at ESPN about how he is. They're like, is he the next great hateable Duke player? And I was like, you should have wrote this article a year ago.
Is that debatable?
Yeah, he's already that.
And you know what? The media feeds it now. I saw a headline like Allen accused of tripping.
Oh, he's done it
time this season.
But to be fair, yes, I've seen both the videos. He's totally tripped guys, and it's great.
Do you think that's not commonplace amongst other players?
I think we'd see it. I think we'd see it actually. I think it isn't because I think with the internet the way it is, we'd see it.
I mean, okay. I kind of like Duke, although this Duke team is hard to watch. I mean, you get to a point where you like the best product, right? For something like this, if you're a real fan, to some extent, I mean, you're going to hate your teams. You're like the Kansas Jayhawks are never going to be a team that I can really get behind. But I mean, I guess when they've had good teams, I've certainly like respected the way they play, which sounds like such a ridiculous cliche. But
how do they play, Brendan? White?
Well, they play. I like their high-low game. I love a good high-low. That sounds ridiculous.
Doesn't Kansas run? Doesn't Bill Self run high-low? That's what he did when he was Illinois coach.
Bill Self loves high-low. He's always got a good shooting for like what the NBA would call a stretch for, although they don't stretch NBA style, and they just pound it into some like senior who will be a horrible pro. That's their move.
It's totally true. He did it at Illinois too.
And that guy can be white or black. That guy, it's going both ways with Self.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that Wisconsin's new coach, not racist. So I like to talk about something called a whitewash, and it's when a basketball team features 5 white guys on the floor at the same time.
Non-Euros.
Yeah, it's much more common in college. Wisconsin is usually the king of the whitewash. But I was wondering if Wisconsin's going to – I had to almost invent it. I think I was going to call it a blackout if Wisconsin put 5 black guys on the court, because they kind of need like a term for that, because that just doesn't happen. But I've seen 4 a lot for them this year.
Yeah, since Bo left. You could just call it the NBA.
Since Bo left.
Right now.
Since Bo left. I feel like Greg Gard might not be able to keep his job because he's fielding too many black guys. They're going to fire him and bring in somebody else. But yeah, college basketball fans. And just college basketball for me, it's all about just like that. There's like a 3 weeks of awesomeness. It's like the week of the conference tournaments and then the first 2 weeks of the NCAA tournament.
I disagree. I mean, I enjoy conference play.
You're a bigger college basketball fan than I am.
But it has lost its luster to me because conference play is now Maryland's playing Michigan State, and I don't want to sound like an old man, but like the history and the tradition.
You're gonna sound so much like an old man.
I sound like a baseball fan. The history and the tradition. I mean, this is like Mizzou. I miss like Iowa State and those type of games because I remember
long for games against Iowa State.
They would be killing us for the past half decade, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good if you guys were in the Big 12 right now.
It's
already not good. It's already.
Let me say. At least we're not Tennessee.
Are they terrible?
They're just the worst public relations athletic department in the country right now. They're putting, you and I have talked for a couple of years about how our respective athletic departments are just disgracefully run. But look at Tennessee right now.
It's true. I think Illinois could get there. I don't know what we have to do. We haven't almost murdered anybody in a while. So
right, they had a 16-coach victim blaming press conference. That was impressive.
That's pretty good. I mean, we had a racist women's basketball coach. We had a coach that was making a football coach that was making injured kids play. That's pretty good. We haven't had enough like real serious crimes though to really get to that level.
Oh, dude, we've had cheating. We've had a Title IX investigation.
Yeah.
We had the players boycotting, but that was
like the highlight of Missouri's sports in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that was like a good thing.
Yeah.
So it was newsworthy. It was certainly controversy.
We had a guy go to in Germany, just like take a baseball bat or something like a baseball bat and knock out car windows when they were in Germany. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that guy could have been at the bottom of a Berlin dungeon for years if it wasn't handled right.
Yeah, it's
been just at Berlin. Maybe he's just at Berlin on Belmont and Sheffield.
It's been 10 years
since dungeon room.
It's been it's been at least 10 years since like Illinois player almost killed one of his teammates and left him in a car to die. But so
hey.
and then called the assistant coach, not the head coach.
R.I.P.
Well, the assistant coach at the time. No, it's not. No, the R.I.P. Nobody's dead there.
That wasn't Wayne McLean.
Wayne McLean. Oh, you're right. Wayne is dead. R.I.P. You're right. Wayne is dead. I was thinking of Sergio. Sergio, his son said he should be the new athletic director, but that didn't work out for him. We should probably get moving on here as we've tangented way down into the world of college basketball. And now I'm just going to go to the other college sport, and that's college football. I feel like there's a little less racist undertones to college football and more sexual predatorness to like the watching of like young kids and getting really into the young kids coming to your school?
I mean, I love boosters.
And by young kids, I mean like 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds.
Oh, yeah. It's particularly weird that it's like all these like fat white Southern men like
there are some racist tones
lusting after all these like chiseled young black men. But I mean, the party aspect's cool.
Yeah,
the tailgates. You know, we could rip out all we want, but everyone wants to go to tailgate at Ole Miss at some point and something like that.
Yeah, I watch a lot of college football actually. When I like talk about how big of a fan I am of a sport, I try to take my own team out of it and think of how much of that sport do I watch, not including the team I root for. And I watch a fair amount of college football actually. I probably watch college football. It's probably the sport I watch the third most of if I take the team I root for out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, it's on a lot.
Yeah.
It's on a lot. I guess with college football, another pro would be that you've never heard a guy being like, well, in the NFL, those lazy bums.
You're right. That's why I put them above college basketball.
I've never heard that, like, they don't play defense in the NFL. Because your all-American defensive end who had 18 sacks is now in the CFL. So what does that say about the caliber of defense in the NFL?
You do still get the could Alabama beat like the worst NFL team argument?
You mean can Alabama, like the team that was made Trent Richardson Heisman caliber player and Trent Richardson is no longer in the league?
Yeah, you still get that. But I feel like that argument actually comes up in college basketball more often. Still too. It'll be like, could Kentucky beat whoever? And like, no, they'd get murdered.
Okay, but if you had to like watch these, like the best college basketball team play the best college, that worst NBA team,
much more fun game to watch.
Much more likely that the college basketball team could win than the NFL team.
Absolutely. Because if that college basketball team has like two like super talents on it, who knows?
Like, all right, like Anthony Davis at Kentucky was probably better, even as 19, was probably better than anyone that's on the 76ers right now. Right?
Yeah. He'd be the best player of the game.
Yeah, there would be no college football team where they're like
that could ever
would be the best player.
And even if they did, it still wouldn't matter. It still wouldn't matter. Like if if Leonard Fournette.
How are you gonna block for him?
Yeah, like if Leonard Fournette was in the game and you say he is the best player in the game, like doesn't matter. The rest, there's too many guys involved. Yeah. So who is your number 5, or what's your number 5 sport?
It was actually college football, so that worked out.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And then I did NFL for number 4, which
Same here.
Okay,
Same here. NFL fans, it's weird. You could go a couple different ways, but I just picture. What did you picture? Like the big meatball?
I mean, yeah, there's a guy who definitely owns a Chris Long jersey in your mind at times, you know, just likes crashes. But that guy, I mean, later the year, there is some overlap between that and an NFL fan and an MMA fan.
Yeah, and hockey.
I also, and here's the thing that I really don't like, and I don't give a shit about your fantasy football team. Please don't say, hey, you play fantasy, and then follow it up with listen to my team.
Listen to my team. Listen to what happened to my team last week. Here's the thing. When it comes to fantasy football, you should only talk about your team with people in your league, and then maybe 1 or 2 people who you have a understanding with that you help each other with each other's teams.
Yeah, you're like each other's consigliere.
Yeah. Don't you need a random guy.
I will say, you do need like the objective friend who's not in your league to be like, what do you think of this trade?
Yeah, I do that with you.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah, you need that guy. But you don't do that to like at a party or like at a bar. Yeah. Be like, yo, listen to who's on my fantasy football team. It's awesome. Don't care.
Also, that guy always has like waiver wire guys and isn't actually a good player. He's just someone who's, you know, active.
Yeah, this is we have different philosophies when it comes to fantasy football. I think that's like the most important part of fantasy football.
But it's the luckiest part. That's why I hate the waiver wire.
It's only lucky if you only think it's lucky because you're not good at it. That's my argument to people, because you gotta.
Oh no, dude! I got David Johnson last year.
Let's hear more about your team.
Okay, that was you know why that was bullshit because you are my fantasy football person and we're having a conversation.
I know.
It was totally within the bounds of what we laid out. However, the masses.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
that was a trap.
I trapped you. It's true. So my 4, like I said, was also the NFL.
I mean, the NFL. Here's the thing. The thing about the NFL is that
it's just like the general population of the United States.
It's a civic pride thing way more than any other sport is.
Yeah, it's like in general, like there's not a lot of people who are sports fans in general and don't like the NFL. That's probably a very small group.
I mean, that could be changing with, scientific discoveries and just player behaviors. But maybe not. It totally might not.
So then my number 3 is baseball fans, even though because like once I get over the pitchers and catchers thing during the baseball season, whatever, man, do whatever you want. And I'm a math nerd, so all the stats don't bother me.
It's fine. I mean, I probably should have had baseball higher.
I don't even I don't consider myself like a huge baseball fan. I've always said this, even like I'm a pretty big White Sox fan, but I don't watch baseball games that don't involve the White Sox. I just don't.
Well, part of that too is it's generally going to be like nicer outside, so your incentive to like be indoors watching you don't really have a stake in is lower. And part of that is there's always a White Sox game on, basically. So
yeah, I don't really watch the playoffs even.
I did this year because I, jumped aboard Cub Express. Choo choo.
I would flip on Cubs games and get sad or happy depending on the score, and then
it ended as you liked.
Oh, it was pretty good.
God, this Dexter Fowler move.
I'm enraged.
I mean, it doesn't even really make much sense.
Theo's a fucking wizard, or I think he's a Jedi, and he Jedi mind tricked him. I don't understand what happened.
I mean, how's he gonna get paid after this year when he's a part-time player?
I don't know. I'm also mad because I don't understand why the White Sox couldn't have just signed him.
Yeah, the draft pick compensation thing is weird. I imagine that'll be retooled when they do the next CBA.
Yeah,
because players are getting screwed.
Yeah, because guys won't sign new because they don't want to give. Now that people are starting to value the draft more, that people don't want to give that up. Yeah. So then, I guess we're on your number 3.
College hoops, which I'm a big fan of. And we talked about and soccer. I say that because I don't know. I think I haven't got as much snark from those people as you have, although I can totally see it because those are people that like soccer is like in the States at least is the indie rock.
Yeah, it's the indie rock of sports. Yeah.
So I see it. I mean, like you have to like more than float on if you like Modest Mouse. Come on. You gotta like Modest. You gotta love Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse is amazing.
There's a thing where if you want to be a real American soccer fan, you also have to support an MLS team because that means you're supporting American soccer or something.
I kind of like that logic though. Like
I do too, but I just don't care.
No, I mean I wouldn't. I guess I would take a free ticket to an MLS game.
I've gone to multiple. I used to go to a Chicago Fire game every year when I lived in the city. It was a great time. But
I've heard of you take a bus there and the bus is full of booze. I'm into that.
Great situation. Go contact the Globe in Chicago if you want to go to a Fire game, and they just it'll be a bus. You buy the tickets through them. Bus filled with free PBRs on the way there and the way back. Charter bus. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm into that, but I don't know. I couldn't even. I guess the season's starting soon, but I don't even really know the schedule.
I can't name one player on that team.
They had the number 1 pick in the draft. I remember you and I looked through the draft a little bit. Just because
we love drafts.
Drafts are awesome.
I was I don't know what I'm looking at. Who are these guys? I don't know. Are they college? It was so confusing because the MLS has some rules where you could have guys claims to some guys beforehand. It was so confusing.
It is the only draft that's called a super draft though. Everything else is just regular.
Yeah, it makes it better.
NFL draft, a 3-day primetime event. Nothing super about that.
Is it more than 3 days now or 3 days? I think it's 4 days.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Do they do something on Sunday now?
Well, I could be wrong.
Something on Sunday.
Maybe it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday now.
I mean,
it used to be
the draft has its own traveling town.
Yeah, is Draft Town in Chicago?
Draft Town, USA. Yeah.
Is it in Chicago again?
It is.
You gonna go?
We are just. I mean, I didn't go last year, so I don't need to be depressed by my 40 time. I can tell you, not good.
Oh, just a tangent right now that nobody else is gonna care about. But I don't care. There's a show on ESPN that doesn't suck. That's on during the day, and it's called The Jump.
Yep. I've been watching it this week with Rachel Nichols.
And Zach Lowe's on it right now. It's Steven Jackson. It's a great team. I think she gets in different guests like every week or something.
Actually, this will probably lead very well into our number one.
Yeah. Before we get to I had to drop in my number two. And my number two,
that deuce.
My number two is a very obscure one. I know a few people who are very big fans of this sport. And it's tennis.
It's fun to watch. It really is.
I played tennis growing up. I can't watch random tennis. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'll watch the majors when like good players are playing, or if like sometimes you'll see on Twitter that like there's a crazy match going on, and then you want to tune into that. But like, I find that people who are like real tennis fans kind of like other sports I like, and you don't ever really know about it until like they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to the U.S. Open for the 4th year in a row. You're like, oh, you like really care about that.
That's a really cool event, though. The U.S. Open.
It is, yeah. All those major tennis events seem really cool.
Well, everyone in New York is a tennis fan in late August and early September.
Yeah,
you walk around, everyone's wearing an open hat.
Yeah, it's probably just like a New Yorker thing.
It is,
and they in general, New Yorkers tend to like the sport that I think is our number one.
It's kind of the birthplace of the sport to some extent. No, not really, but not at all. It doesn't. Since this is the NBA, it's a little different. But yeah, I mean, we're NBA fans. It's the only fan base that I just generally don't really have a big complaint about. I
want somebody to tell me, and this might be a situation where we're too close to it to see the issues. We're too close. What are the negatives of NBA fans? We do that's annoying. You can have people might have qualms with the sport. It's probably because they're racist. Maybe is it that we call everybody racist? Is that what
that is actually a pretty good qualm. We do call everybody racist, but everyone is. So facts hurt sometimes.
That NBA fans are quick to call other fans racist for not liking the NBA.
They usually say racist things. Like
NBA fans don't get mad at people not calling traveling every 2 seconds. Is that a negative thing?
No. And by the way, people don't travel. They're just really athletic.
Yeah. And the best is like
huge misnomer about the NBA that everyone's always traveling.
Yeah. And then there'll be like 3 like vines a year of some guy who took a bunch of steps and didn't get called for. And they'll be like, see, they always travel.
Okay. You want to see who always travels? It's the rookies who are coming into the league who don't know how traveling works. They will just take 4 steps before they dribble. That's a classic rookie move. And the rest are like, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah, I don't really care about travel. And the people don't understand the rule totally either. But yeah, NBA fans were the best.
Yeah, the best.
I mean, there was no doubt that anybody listening to this that we were going to rank this number one, right?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to you about the NBA almost every day.
No matter what day of the year it is.
Almost every day. Yeah. Like when summer league's on.
If we talk.
Yeah, if we talk, it's the NBA will probably be brought up. Like I haven't talked to you in like 3 days, and I want to complain about Derrick Rose to you right now a little bit.
Go for it.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's just
we can talk about it after. Nobody wants to hear us talk about it.
God damn that! It's just. I mean, like I get. If we're like if this was a ranking of the people in the world I hated most, like Bulls management is in like the top 4.
Yeah, and they
haven't committed genocide or anything. So like that's some strong hate.
2 of my teams are basically run by that group. Of the teams I root for in sports, the Bulls and the White Sox are run by Jerry Reinsdorf, who seems to have just has to be the worst owner in the history of sports who has 7 championships. There's no way anybody comes close to that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Illinois football and Illinois basketball are run by the University of Illinois Athletic Department. So 4 of the teams
not 7 championships.
I think we could get to like 3. I think we can get to like 3 football championships from like the 50s. With like Dick Buckus or Red Grange.
Real quick, back to the NBA. I do feel like there's a universal appeal. And it is kind of cool that it is across race and it is across even nationality. I met a guy in Paris wearing a Tony Parker, wearing a Spurs hat at a soccer match.
Love it.
And we talked about Tony Parker for like 10 minutes. You know, I mean, I've had stuff like that happens all the time. I heard 2 guys at CBS arguing about who's better, Kyrie or John Wall. By the way, it's Wall, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, I thought so. And I was like, Wall, this is a stupid. I'm glad you guys love the NBA, and I do too. But this is stupid. Wall is definitely better.
Yeah, it's a sport. It's like similar to soccer. In like a universal appeal.
Oh, it's got to be the second most international sport. Well, I guess baseball's fairly international.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, baseball is more international than we think about.
It's just not European.
So basketball's in Europe, right? Like basketball's really is like a thing in Europe. It's like probably the second most popular sport throughout the continent. There's some hockey in certain parts of Europe, I would guess too. That's pretty popular. But yeah, then China. I think
basketball covers more continents than anything else.
Basketball might be the most popular sport in China. It's crazy.
Not to sound like a cliche machine, but like table tennis has always kind of been their thing, right? Or is that Japan?
That's not racist.
That's not. They're not spoken like an NBA fan.
That's multiple countries over in Asia. So,
well, their baseball's very popular in like Japan.
It's becoming more popular in China too, I think. And baseball has the whole Latin America thing.
Yeah, yeah. But Latin America has a ton of players in the NBA. I guess that's maybe more South America than Latin America, but
yeah, like Brazil and Argentina. Yeah, you don't get
like Cristiano Felicio.
But hey, there's some Dominicans in the NBA, right?
Karl Anthony Towns, but he's like Dominican, like Manny Ramirez is Dominican,
or like Al Horford's Dominican.
Yeah, like Karl Anthony Towns basically lived in New York his whole life, but unlike Manny Ramirez, he's like, I can speak English. Not just when it's convenient for me.
I wish I had that ability, like to convince people that you can't speak English
when you're just like don't want to deal with the press.
Yeah, I heard somebody told me a great story about somebody. I read this thing. I was read it or heard it or something about somebody who on their first day of work told everybody that they were a twin. So that when they saw them in public, they can ignore them. Which is amazing.
Like a sitcom plot line.
It should be. It's not, I don't think, but it should be. It's like something George Costanza would do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Or Larry David. But they haven't. I've watched all of those shows. I've never seen that plot line. It's a great move. You have to really commit to that. You should really commit to that. Yeah, but thanks everybody for listening.
It was a fun one.
It was a fun one. Hopefully for you too.
With us.
Yeah.
We took a bye week, but we'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, we're like SNL. We can't actually pump out 4 episodes a month. It's too hard.
Yeah.
You gotta take a week off in there from time to time. So like us on Facebook, share our posts and everything. Subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher if you haven't. And if you need to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us on Twitter at First of the Worst or on Facebook page or email us firstoftheworst@gmail.com. Whatever you want to do. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.